Greetings, scholars, and welcome to this presentation of Hacking Bloom's Taxonomy, a Pyramid Scheme, presented by yours truly, Jamela Gibson, for EPSI 8710 with Dr. Hines in the spring semester of 2023. In this presentation, I will introduce the topic, give you the rationale, describe my approach and the model, discuss the NAGC connection, and give you my final thoughts. First up, what is Bloom's taxonomy? According to Rule and Lord, instead of examining how and what to teach, Bloom and his colleagues created a taxonomy of educational objectives based on the biological taxonomy of the animal kingdom. It's a 6-tiered framework of desired educational outcomes. This pyramid is based on Bloom's original 1956 taxonomy. Bloom collaborated with 4 other scholars to publish this framework, which was originally called Taxonomy of Educational Objectives. I'm not sure why his name was used in the more popular title, which is Bloom's Taxonomy. Maybe he was the principal investigator on the project, or maybe his name was more user-friendly. I am not sure. A group of cognitive psychologists, curriculum theorists, instructional researchers, and assessment specialists published a revision in 2001, which is now widely used. The 3 main differences between this revised version and the original 1956 version are: 1, the bottom tier changed from knowledge to remember; 2, the keywords are verbs instead of nouns; and 3, the 2 top tiers are evaluate and create instead of synthesize and evaluate, respectively. The revised Bloom's taxonomy, aka RBT, of educational objectives in the cognitive domain provides a complexity hierarchy that orders cognitive processes from simple remembering to higher order critical and creative thinking. As you can see, the revised levels go bottom up from simple to complex. This is a document I found a while ago, and I use it for my Spanish classroom because I do heavily champion the comprehensible input approach, and so this is based on that, and it gives great questions to ask examples of input-based activities that can guide my curriculum planning as well as modifications of the textbook that I use. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, also it does, it gives keywords that you can use when articulating lesson goals and objectives. So that's another thing I appreciate about it. So why hack Bloom's taxonomy? Based on my observations and anecdotes, students complain about tests only assessing their memorization. There's a term for it. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, just memorizing facts to regurgitate on a test. My students complain about that all the time. They complain about their classes. I'm sure they complain about my class in other classes just because they're in that season of life where they just like to complain. They also do complain about teachers giving too much pointless busy work. And so Bloom's taxonomy, when properly applied, it does help to move away from pointless busy work. Teacher complaints, and this is something I've heard from my colleagues in one context or another, and this is actually a personal concern of mine, in that many students, though gifted, don't seem to try hard. And I hear from students all the time that the work is either too easy or it's too hard, and Bloom's taxonomy, again, when applied properly, is designed to target that middle ground where it's not too easy and not too hard. And so differentiating according to where students are helps to find that target for each individual student. Per the academic literature, it is a framework for a type of differentiated instruction, and it can be integrated with Gardner's multiple intelligences. Also, it does address depth, complexity, challenge, and abstraction. How would I hack Bloom's taxonomy as a facilitator? First, I would send out a digital questionnaire form to find out participants' knowledge and questions based on KWL, what they know and what they want to know about Bloom's taxonomy and how to apply it in their classrooms. This will help with planning of the content to cover in the workshop. And for me, this would need to be a series, not just a one and done. On the day of the workshop, we would form interdisciplinary cohorts before starting with an icebreaker such as group story or common chain. Group story would consist of giving groups a set of keywords from the topic of hacking Bloom's taxonomy and let them create a wacky story with each person in the group using one of the keywords. The common chain icebreaker is more of a get to know you exercise where the facilitator would share information about themselves, and as soon as one of the attendees hears the facilitator say something about themselves that they have in common with the facilitator, they would go link arms and start their autobiographical speech, and the pattern would continue until everyone has linked arms. In the same groups, we could do a tactile task of categorizing keywords, questions, and or tasks that fit within each level of Bloom's taxonomy, and then end with and then I would go into the presentation, and I do intend to make it interactive, but I would go into the presentation and finally end with a review game modeled after the game show The Pyramid, in keeping with the theme. If you're not familiar with that game show, I would Google it and watch a few episodes. It actually is really fun, and I find myself participating along with the show. So, how would we hack Bloom's taxonomy as a cohort or a cadre? This model involves a group of people who begin a professional development program at the same time and who support and mentor each other as they work toward the completion of the program. It could be semester long or year long. As a school, we're already in subject area PLCs, but I would like us to be organized into interdisciplinary groups to achieve that cross-curricular lesson planning opportunity that I do envision being part of this whole process. So what is the NAGC connection to this pyramid scheme? Based on Standard 3 Curriculum Planning and Instruction, the following are some guiding questions. What strategies are in place to select, adapt, and create differentiated, challenging, and culturally appropriate curricula? Do the instructional strategies delivered encompass creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, and inquiry-based models? And then for Standard 6, professional development, this is one of the guiding questions that I thought was relevant. Are all teachers, counselors, and instructional support staff given sufficient time and funds to regularly participate in a variety of research-supported professional development options in order to increase their expertise in the pedagogy and practice of gifted and talented education? Regarding Standard 3, Bloom's taxonomy definitely can be applied here. It allows for differentiation. It does allow for student-centered challenge based on their level of thinking, their level of preparedness. And these instructional strategies that we would learn about in the professional learning would definitely involve applying creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, and inquiry-based models in the classroom. And Professional development, I mean, this is a pitch that I would love to toss to my administration, and hopefully they would knock it out of the park and allow us to go forward with it. So in closing, generally speaking, there is a clear need for professional development on how to apply Bloom's taxonomy. More specifically and personally speaking, given how much curriculum I've evaluated and modified for assignments in my EDS program and at work as I'm planning instruction both with Bloom's taxonomy in mind, and how often teachers and students complain about student boredom with lower order thinking tasks, successfully applying Bloom's taxonomic pyramid scheme can address these concerns, and I am certainly willing to help lead that charge. For more information, please check out these references at your convenience. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.